Hi, I'm Rupal. How are you all? It is finally Gilmore Girl season. I actually read this on Tumblr. I really love the fall autumn aesthetic. I have only seen this season on Pinterest because in India we don't really have the whole orange dried fallen leaves and pumpkins, and yeah, we just don't have the aesthetic autumn here. But I really love the season and the vibe it brings with it. So I thought today I would recommend you some books that give off those exact same aesthetic autumn vibes, and I hope you like this. The first book I want to recommend is a book that I read really recently, and that is Our Wives Under the Sea by Julia Armfield. It is about Mary and Leah, who kind of have a falling out in their relationship. It all happens when Leah is supposed to go on a research trip to the deepest part of the ocean for 3 weeks, but instead she gets stuck there for 6 months. And after these 6 months, in the present time, Leah is a completely different person because she had no contact with the outside world for 6 months. So now the person that stands in front of Mary is a complete stranger to her, and Mary just does not know how to take care of Leah because the love they had is still there, is still present, but they just don't know each other anymore. They just don't know how to communicate with each other. We just read about how they face certain problems that come with the changing of a person, of this traumatized event that takes place. We see how even though they love each other, even though they care for each other, they just don't know how to be with each other. And this book has such an eerie sort of vibe, like the problems they face in their relationship, the bodily changes happening with Leah, her experience stuck in the deepest part of the ocean for 6 months, and the feelings that Mary feels towards everything. All of these carry a really eerie, creepy sort of vibe. And the writing is just beautiful and poetic, and it just makes you feel uncomfortable and sad for Mary and Leah's relationship. And if you are in the mood for some Halloweeny sort of book, then I think you should really read this. You would really love it. Don't expect too much horror in this book because there is not that much, but the main horror part of the book is the problems that they face in their relationship. So yeah, keep that in mind when you read this book. The next book is Juniper and Thorn by Ava Reed. This is a book that I'm currently reading and I am really loving it. It has the perfect vibes if you want to read something Halloweeny and witchy. Also, before you pick up this book, I need you to know that this contains all the trigger warnings in the world. Like, it has eating disorder, it has sexual assault, it has child assault, it has alcoholism, and every other trigger warning that you could think of. So keep that in mind before you pick up this book. It is about Marlin Chen and her two sisters, who are the only living witches in the town of Oblea, and their father is a wizard that is cursed because he tried to make himself the only living wizard in that town. And now, because of this curse, their father has become a really rageful person, and he takes out this rage on his daughters. So the story begins when Marlin Chen goes out in secret in the middle of the night to visit the town and participate in the social activities. Marlin Chen, gets addicted to those parties and starts to go out more frequently, and her father's rage just builds on more and more throughout the whole story. I haven't read it completely. I have only read 40% of the book, but the prose is so well written that you would absolutely get lost in that whole Victorian, Oscar Wilde, Dorian Gray era, and it has witches in it, so it just makes it more beautiful. And there is this ballet theater that they go watch beautiful performances. People wear gowns. I just think it fits the autumn aesthetic perfectly, and you would really love it. Only make sure to keep in mind the trigger warnings of the book. The next book is All's Well by Mona Abad. This is about Miranda, who faces chronic pain in the lower part of her body, like her legs and her hips. people that surround her, instead of understanding her pain, they tell her to get over it, because they think that if they can't feel it, then Miranda also probably doesn't feel it, and they think that she's faking it. Then one day Miranda goes to this bar and finds these three gentlemen who somehow are able to put their witchy magic on her, and the next day Miranda realizes that she can transfer her pain to the person that she touches. We get to see how Miranda finally feels free and is able to torture everyone that ever said something to her about her pain. It is a beautiful book because it talks about how people always ignore the cry for help of people that suffer chronic pain. They think that because if they can't see it, then probably the person facing the pain is faking it. It is a beautiful commentary on that, and I really think if you loved Bunny and you know what kind of writing Mona Awad has, you would absolutely love this book as well. Also read it if you like Charlotte Perkins Gilman's The Yellow Wallpaper, because it is really similar to it, and yeah, you would really love it. The next book is House of Salt and Sorrows. This is a young adult retelling of the 12 Dancing Princesses. It is a really gothic Victorian version of it. It is really eerie and really creepy because there were certain, I won't say really, but there were certain scenes that did creep me out, and I just felt like there was someone standing over my shoulder because the scenes were really descriptive. It is obviously, if you know the 12 Dancing Princesses, they find this sort of portal to another world where they are able to have the best times in their lives, but the sisters one by one are getting killed, and our main character Anna Leigh tries to figure out why these murders are happening and how to prevent them. A really good murder mystery book if you are in the mood to read something like that, and also it is young adult, but I think it is a pretty quick read and you would really enjoy reading it. So yeah, go read it. The next book is Circe by Madeline Miller. It is about Circe who gets banished to this island to live completely alone because people are afraid of her powers and what she can do. If you are a person who does not like fall, who does not like winter, and are really missing spring and flowers around them, then you should read this book. It has really beautiful description of Circe taking care of her island, of taking care of the animals, of growing flowers and various plants. You would really like it if you miss spring. It does not necessarily have a plot because it just talks about what Circe did on her island and the situations that she faced. If you know the Greek mythology, then yeah, this is just like a no plot, just vibes kind of book, but a really lovely book nonetheless. I kind of got bored towards the ending, but I think you would really like it because the writing was really poetic and beautiful. So yeah, read this if you miss spring. The next book is Piranesi by Susanna Clark. It is about Piranesi, which is not his real name, who lives in this house that is filled with corridors and rooms and statues, and we see Piranesi living there completely alone and being completely fine living alone. Like, he doesn't need other people to surround him. He enjoys his time living there with all these statues, and he just is a scientist, so he researches these statues and tries to find new things. Then one day this mysterious message is written on the wall and his life is completely disrupted because he realizes that there are other living persons other than Other, who is also a character in this book. We see his journey trying to find his identity, realizing that the world that he thought was his is not actually, and that there is another world and all these other people, that now he actually is someone else and he has people in his life, but he has just gotten so comfortable living with himself that he doesn't want to go to this other world and be with this other people. And You should totally read this book because it is so beautiful. I did not like this the first time I read it, but the second time I read it, I actually understood what the book was about and I just fell in love with it. You should also read it because it is truly a gem and the vibes are everything. Like, it is a no plot, just vibes kind of book. So if you just want the vibes, read this right now. You would absolutely adore it. The next book is On Earth We Are Briefly Gorgeous by Ocean Brown. The only reason I am recommending you this book is because of the cover. The cover just screams autumn. This is about a letter that a son writes to his mother, telling her of the lasting impressions that the Vietnam War left on his family and his life, how his family struggles to create a new life and how they cannot do so because of the war trauma that they face in their lives. A lot of people have recommended this book, a lot of you have already read it, so I won't say anything else, but just look at the cover. Completely autumn. The next book is Bunny by Mona Awad. This is one of my absolute favorite books, and also the perfect book to read during Halloween season because of how horrific this book is. It is about Samantha, who hates this group of girls in her university, but one day gets this invitation to join them in their activities during their free time, and she does participate in a lot of gruesome things that they do. To me, it felt like this search for someone to just talk to just communicate, to be a friend with. The whole book is about just having this person in your life that you can really share stuff with, that you just feel comfortable with, that you just really care about. So yeah, read this book if you are in the mood to read something horror. The last book is The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern. This is another one of my absolute favorite books ever. It is about the circus that opens at night and closes at day. It does not really have a story, but it has a lot of beautiful, amazingly well written characters that you just get really attached to and you just really adore them. It is a no plot, just vibes kind of book. So if you are here just for vibes, for autumn winter aesthetic vibes, then this book is for you and you should definitely read this because it is one of my favorite. I also got a tattoo for it, so yeah, this just is a really beautiful book for me. So these were the recommendations. I hope you liked it. I hope you read some of them, and if you have already read them, reread them again. I have not recommended The Secret History and If We Were Villains because I see everyone recommending them. But yeah, those two books are also included in this list if you want to get recommended these books. I hope you liked this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.